What is going on, bros? It is your boy T-Shroom in for the Investing Bros. We're going to be getting into some very interesting stories. The SEC is not done wreaking havoc on the crypto industry. That much is clear. We're going to be getting into that. Bitcoin, sub 60,000. We're going to be getting into that. Uniswap, up double digits today on some very exciting news. We'll definitely be getting into that. CPI, coming in a little hotter than expected. You guessed it, we'll be getting into that on the other side of the intro. Make sure you smash the like button. Let's get It's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here down in Florida. Made it through Hurricane Milton. I did seek refuge more northern in Florida, and I'm glad that I did because my house more than likely is flooded down in the Space Coast. Haven't really confirmed that quite yet. We're not sure if we're going to go back yet or what we're going to do, but today we're going to be bringing you a market update here from our headquarters in Gainesville, Florida, North Florida. So we're going to have some fun here, bros. About as much fun as we can with the SEC coming for our throats again and again and again. They just don't stop. It is quite crazy. But with all of this, Bitcoin does seem to be holding strong, but not as strong as it has earlier in the week, holding up that $60,000 level. We'll be getting to the charts, taking a look at Bitcoin here in just a second. But let's start with the bubbles here. Let me refresh this. But you may already have the sneak peek there at the big one. 10% to the upside there is Uniswap. We'll be getting to the news there, that bullish news for Uniswap. Very exciting, very, very cool, and I'm glad to be a holder of the coin. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts here. We'll start with Bitcoin. As you can see here, I'm on the daily chart. Bitcoin has given up that $60,000 level that was holding as support back here on the early October 2nd. It's given that up today. In fact, we have gotten as low as 1.8% to the downside there. But we have also are currently at live price. We are currently going ahead and just down just a bit more than a bit less than that, just about 1% down to the downside. So from the highs, we are currently down 10.6% from the highs we saw up at 66.4 just a few days ago. Feels like just yesterday, but that was September 27th. Man, it's tough to say, where we're going next. But Tim, this morning in this morning's video did talk about 57,000. Could that be where we're headed next? We've already gotten down again a wick down to 58,800. Let's check out the MACD here. MACD was waning. The red histograms were waning. It was nice to see, but unfortunately, we did go ahead and get these monster red ones coming back fierce as the bears roar the bulls back into submission. Let's take a look here at the Luxalgo oscillator matrix, and this also is spelling a bearish future here in the short term for Bitcoin, as we got a reversal dot here on the hyperwave, as well as the money flow coming back, just barely peeked over that bullish threshold and went right back under like a gopher on Gopher Day. Why am I blanking on that? Groundhog Day. Like a gopher or a groundhog on Groundhog Day. So not great. Everything kind of showing that we were going to turn over, and of course we did. And unfortunately, we gave up that $60,000 level. Now we're asking the question: how long are we going to ride this lower band of the Bollinger Bands? And as those Bollinger Bands are widening, just how far to the downside could we get? This doesn't become extremely bearish. This shouldn't make you worry until we get back down and potentially put in a new low here. That would be all the way down past $53 and 53,800, right? So I think we have tons of support before we get down there. And as of right now, this would still be a higher low if we were to close here, or if we were to even come down to a lower level such as 50,000 even. That would still be a lower low compared to the previous, and would still be seen as by investors as an opportunity to buy a dip in a high highly valued asset, high conviction asset for many, such as me. So that is Bitcoin out on the daily. Let's drill down to the 4-hour, see what's cooking down, see if we can find a little bit of hope for the bulls. I'm thinking that this does continue to go lower, bros, just before we get down to the 4-hour here. Judging by the daily, I think that there's some more momentum to the downside than there is to the upside, but let's see what the 4-hour is telling us. So far, we're trading outside of the Bollinger Band there, the bottom level of the Bollinger Band. That's what the price action's telling us there. No bueno. However, the hyperwave did get a little bit of a reversal here and a reversal delta, but we immediately got a reversal dot to that reversal. It's kind of a Uno move there, invalidating the bullish momentum that was building into a potential reversal to the upside. Money flow pretty negative there and about to flip across that 50 line. Down on the MACD, we're seeing kind of what we saw out on the daily, what was looking like kind of a bullish resumption, or kind of a bullish reversal in the red histograms as they were waning here. Now has been canceled by this big raging bull of a red histogram, and the cross that was starting to form here, we talked about it earlier this week, the cross that was starting to form has been invalidated as well, but that would have been bullish to see that fully cross in the MACD and signal lines. Instead of a cross, we've actually gotten kind of a wobble there down to the downside. So the 4-hour probably pointing to lower prices as well. So just how low do we go, right? That's kind of the question now. And to try to figure that out, you have to look at previous price action. And one of the things that I like to do that is actually to turn on some of the Lux Algo indicators to see what I can't pull out. So taking a look here, you can see very easily some lower levels to take a look at. So we've just gone through this 60,000 level that was the first take profit for a move there, and then the next one would be about 58,000. Okay, I'm on the 4-hour. This 58,000 level also coincides with the second level of the reversal band here for the reversal clouds. So that's probably not a bad level to expect some support to come in. Let's turn off the reversal bands and let's turn on the breaker blocks here. As you can see, we've already broken through here, and this is going to be where the bears were actually more exhausted than the bulls. And so this actually should have served as support. Probably pretty weak support though, because you can see that the bulls also were almost neck and neck with the bears here on this move. To learn more about Lux Algo and the indicators, definitely check out the link in the description to our Discord, where you can jump in and ask questions. And if you want to get Lux Algo for yourself, there's a link in the description for that. And while it's 20% off right now, you also get access to our VIP trading hub to learn how to invest, learn how to trade. A lot of folks have done it and have a lot of success, which is really, really great. But taking a look here, you can see that the bears were very, very exhausted here at level 57,800. Okay, so that's down on the 4-hour. So I think this would probably be some very strong support right around here at 57.8. Maybe not a bad level to try to time along and try to time a bounce to the upside. After all, that's what we saw back here, a nice bounce on a move higher. However, just be careful. If you're trading for the first time, definitely use a stop loss. If you're trading for the millionth time, definitely use a stop loss and understand that investing in cryptocurrencies comes with risk. But this is where bears got exhausted last time, and this could potentially form some nice support. So let's also look at what Lux Algo is throwing out in terms of predictions here. So it's right now under a red sell signal. So not quite a buy signal yet on the 4-hour. Let's go out to back out to the daily and see. It's under a buy signal in the daily currently, right here, as you can see. However, this is more than likely going to result here in a loss if you were to stay in this trade until it plays out today. Now, if you were to just keep holding it like an investor, I think we'll ultimately see the bullish catalyst November 4th, which is here. November 5th, when the elections finally conclude, and then we'll see more than likely a lot of money flow into not just Bitcoin, but many assets as certainty around the U.S. elections returns to the market. But as of right now, Lux Algo is saying it's still a buy, and I agree, right? But I would say it's a buy at probably closer to 58,000, and if you can get it at 57,800 or 57 clean. So that is going to be our analysis there. Okay, I'll go a couple layers deeper here to the 1 hour and show you what Lux Algo is showing currently under a sell rating. So even on the hour. So right now is not a good time to buy, right? What does this mean? It means like everything else we saw on the daily and the 4 hour in terms of the indicators, this is also flashing saying we have lower to go, wait and buy lower. So that is more than likely what very experienced traders are going to go ahead and do is hold on. But as you can see here, back on the bubbles, a sea of red, except for Uniswap. Uniswap doing really, really well today. Let's go ahead and have a little bit of bullish news before we get into the SEC news. Let's go ahead and do that because I want to have a bullish splash here in our show. Uniswap has just launched its new Layer 2 Unichain. You can check it out at unichain.org. 1 second block times is promised here. Sub block times of 200 to 250 milliseconds soon, so that's not yet. Designed primarily for multi-chain swapping, built on Optimism Superchain. That's a big nod to Optimism's technology there. Optimism, of course, a layer 2 for Ethereum, existing one that's very competitive. And then it supports standards like ERC 7683. Very strange. I'm not going to claim to have heard about this or know what that means, but some folks will. 95% cheaper than Ethereum Layer 1. I would love to know how that compares to Arbitrum, Matic, and Optimism, and others as well, but that sounds pretty darn cheap. Testnet is live now, and mainnet expected in November. So there it is, the official tweet out from Uniswap Labs introducing the Unichain. So that's bullish. That's bullish, especially for those of you, myself included, who are hodlers of Uniswap. It's been a solid project. It's lasted multiple cycles. I don't have any reason to believe that this is not going to do well, other than what I'm about to show you, which is this list of growing regulation by enforcement actions from the SEC. These are a list of Wells notices. I've gone over this earlier in the week, but you have Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Robinhood, Uniswap, OpenSea, and Crypto.com as of this week, all receiving Wells notices by the SEC. And then, of course, some legendary lawsuits, with Ripple Lab being the most legendary, and Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, I'm going through these quickly, Bittrex, and Nexo, all receiving lawsuits, not just Wells notices, but lawsuits. And it doesn't seem to be stopping there. So while Uniswap does have a bullish story out there today, announcing a new product to compete in the L2 space for Ethereum, it unfortunately does have an outstanding Wells notice, which means it could potentially be sued by the SEC. And the chances of that are increasing as the SEC seems to be making a last-ditch effort to try to sue every crypto company that there is before Gary Gensler has a little bit of a change of scenery, let's say. So let's take a look at some very annoying but predictable breaking news. The SEC enforcement news. SEC charges Cumberland, DRW, a major market maker, for operating as an unregistered dealer in the crypto asset markets. This is for immediate release. The Securities and Exchange Commission today charged Chicago-based Cumberland DRW with operating an unregistered dealer in more than 2 billion cryptocurrencies dollars worth of cryptocurrencies offered and sold as securities, in violation of the registration requirements of the federal securities laws that are designed to protect investors, says the SEC. And there was a statement they came back with very quickly here. This one came my way from Adam Cochran, using some well-timed profanity there. Usually we don't try to show much profanity, but it's made it on today's episode, by golly. Today, and this is from Cumberland, clapping back at the SEC. They've got a response prepared. Today, we became the latest target of the SEC's enforcement first approach to stifling innovation and preventing legitimate companies from engaging in digital assets. This comes despite bipartisan pushback on the approach in the most recent House Financial Services Committee hearing, in which the SEC was called a rogue agency, cited for its failure to work with Congress and taken to task for abusing power. Going to skip ahead to this third paragraph. I felt it was compelling. The SEC asserts these transactions required us to register as a broker-dealer. While we strongly disagree, we took that step. They took the step, became a broker-dealer, and acquired a registered broker's dealer license in 2019. Only then, despite Gensler's call to just come in and register, were we told we could only use our broker-dealer license to trade BTC or ETH, both commodities and not under the jurisdiction of the SEC. This naturally calls into question whether the guidance to come in and register was provided in good faith. So all kinds of swamp creatures crawling out of the SEC and rearing their ugly heads, and they are called chaos and uncertainty. The market hates this, right? This is why we're seeing, this is one of the contributing factors to why we're seeing Bitcoin go ahead and push lower than 60,000. Not because the market is scared particularly of the SEC, but it's just yet another time where uncertainty is flowing into these markets. It's not good to see, and ultimately, it's just annoying. It's annoying for experienced investors like myself to know that there are folks who are not as experienced and that will see these headlines and actually sell the best asset in the world, Bitcoin, as a result. It's sad, it's annoying, and more than likely there are whales behind this move that are engineering this so that they can buy Bitcoin lower. That's the sad truth, and it's very annoying. All of this comes right after Crypto.com received a Wells notice from the SEC just on the 8th, just on October 8th. So very, very recently. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I'm going to take a look here at the chat, and then we've got a clip to roll because an SEC commissioner is actually standing up for the crypto industry, and he's calling the SEC a disaster. We're going to get to that in just a second, but let's see what the chat's got crack-a-lackin'. The Zen of Gavin said, enough of your tomfoolery. Yes, I very much agree. Gary Gensler's tomfoolery should have reached its end long ago, but apparently it hasn't. Crux of Crypto, Big Crux, let us know in the chat if you appreciate Crux. I know I do. Said 100% this market is trying to shake you out. Bitcoin only down 20% from its all-time high and up 4x from 18 months ago. Zoom out, everyone. Even 40K is still a 2.5x, which outperforms any other sector in the past 18 months. Except gold. But a very good point. A very, very good point, Crux. It's wild. They are trying to get you to... The media tries to do two things. And remember, the media is owned by giant Wall Street firms. Now, we try to, here on the Investing Bros, I have a theory, I have a thesis that I want to follow these Wall Street investment firms with what they do with their money. But when they come out and they speak, or they participate in influencing regulators to take certain actions, that's when I want to ignore it or even fade what that move would imply. So the corporate media inspires retail to go out and buy Bitcoin for the first time, saying, ooh, this is decentralized, it's cool, and it is, right? But then a month later or even a week later, they come out with some crap like this, where there's a major organization, a major entity, an institution that's getting sued by the SEC or receives a Wells notice. And then all of a sudden, retail investors capitulate and they sell and the price goes down. That's how we know that weak hands are leaving the market. And you call them weak hands. You could also call them people who are just trying to seek financial sovereignty, trying to seek financial freedom, like you and I, right? And so it's sad to see it, but this is a tale that's old as time, at least as old as markets. So, folks, a lot of you are hearing kind of the lesson that I'm trying to teach here is to hold on to your Bitcoin despite this silliness that's coming from the SEC. After all the observation that I've had of this regulatory agency and its relationship to crypto, I think what we're seeing today in an increase this week, an increase in the pace of actions. First, you had a Wells notice against the Coinbase.com, and now you have this action that we're reporting on today of Cumberland And we also have something we're not going to report on, but we talked about in the Discord earlier today, which is actually a bust organized by American agencies that shall not be named here on the channel. And they essentially went in and they busted a bunch of crypto organizations. Now, some of those crypto organizations could have absolutely been acting criminally, right? And maybe they should be in jail, right? But what we're seeing is a big spike of enforcement actions this week. Why? Well, what's coming up? The elections. The elections are less than a month away, the U.S. elections at least. And if I jump over to polymarket.com and I look at the politics section, I will show you all the biggest spread that I've seen on this website so far. Donald Trump is leading 56.3% to Harris's 43.2%. Now, of course, is this the end-all be-all? Is this the truth? Is this what is going to happen on November 5th, meaning that Donald Trump wins? Perhaps not. We don't know. This is just what essentially Vegas, a bunch of gamblers, are saying. However, they're putting their money where their mouth is by doing it. So you can believe what you want about these, but ultimately, this is also a very big headline here when I saw this, that Donald Trump is actually leading in Michigan. This is very, very big. If Donald Trump takes Michigan, it's very hard to paint a picture where he does not win the election in the United States in November. So what does all this mean? If I'm Gary Gensler, now's the time to pull the trigger, all right? I've been spinning up all kinds of well notices and lawsuits against the crypto industry. I better activate those now if I want to try to utilize all the work that I've put into bringing chaos to this industry. And how do we know that he's brought chaos to this industry? Because one of his peers is telling us that. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen to a clip of exactly that.
SEC doing regarding crypto?
Well, I think our policies and our approach for the last several years have been just really a disaster for the whole industry. We have been setting this policy through enforcement. We've done nothing to provide guidance on it. And as a result, this is being shaped by the courts. And different courts have ruled different ways. I think what this Wells notice is, and while I won't comment on the specifics of this litigation, the Wells, what has gone on is part of a broader frustration with the fact that we have not provided interpretive guidance as to what you can and cannot do. And if you are involved in some sort of securities offering, how you register, how you get regulated as a broker-dealer, how you get registered as an exchange. Well, it's great to be here.
What is the
So there you hear it for yourself. It's hard to argue with that, right? When you have an active member of the Securities and Exchange Commission admitting to disaster. This is Mark Yuda. I've got to admit, I haven't heard too much from him before in the past, but he is an active SEC commissioner, along with Hester Pierce, along with Gary Gensler, coming out and saying that they have been a disaster for the whole industry is what this tweet reads from Bitcoin Magazine. SEC Commissioner Mark Yuda says their crypto policies have been a disaster for the whole industry. It is crazy. It's crazy to think that this is an actual world that we live in, where the folks that are supposed to be the most competent regulatory agency operators in the world are intentionally bringing disaster to an industry. It's very, very strange. And now, Hester Pierce has been kind of parroting this message for many years now, and now we're seeing another commissioner from the same organization, the SEC, Mark Yuda, come out and say the same thing. And he's not just tweeting it out, right? This isn't information that's leaking, right? This isn't an unnamed commissioner is suspected of having dissenting opinions to the chair, Gary Gensler. No, this is on Fox freaking Business, right? This is on primetime financial news. I don't know exactly. Of course, nobody knows what exactly is going on at the SEC. We did have the director of enforcement quit last week. A gentleman I don't remember the name of, but he was a big leaguer, right? And he's someone who's been enforcing the will of the SEC, enforcing Gary Gensler's will, as he appears to have teamed up with the Senator of Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, to try to destroy the crypto industry. Well, his days might be over, because think of what you want about American politics, but right here, the numbers are not lying. The numbers may not end up coming to fruition. This may not end up being the result in November, but the numbers as of today do not lie. People who are betting on November 5th on the U.S. elections are saying that Donald Trump will be the victor. And Donald Trump has said that he will replace Gary Gensler. He will fire Gary Gensler. Of course, we don't know who he's going to be replaced with, but more than likely, he's going to be replaced with someone who's not outspoken about bringing disaster to the crypto industry and teaming up with Elizabeth Warren and her anti-crypto army. So this betting spread should bring bullish optimism to you all. And unfortunately, as the weak hands go ahead and sell Bitcoin and allow it to slip lower than 60,000, you may be inclined to actually go ahead and pick up that Bitcoin at a relative discount. We also had some other news come out this morning. Core inflation rate come in 0.3 at the forecasted 0.2. Core inflation rate year over year. This is the big one. 3.3 over the forecasted 3.2. And also you had the inflation rate year over year. Headline inflation 3.4 came in hot over the consensus and forecasted 2.3, but under the previous 2.5. So you could say that forecast was outpacing inflation, and that they should have said 2.4 in previous. So a lot of uncertainty, a lot of he said, she said, a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but ultimately it's a hot print. Just how hot is it, though? Let's turn to the indexes for a bit of guidance, because after all, we have the market at our disposal to be able to parse out how it's feeling about about prices and about optimism and pessimism. And if we look at the Qs today, we can see that on the 1 hour, there actually has been a bit of a pullback. Let's take a look on the daily for the Qs. This is essentially the NASDAQ, a summary of the U.S. stock market, and we'll look at others, but the market has taken it in stride, right? The crypto has sold off a good bit more than as indicated by the bubbles in the sea of red here, with Hex down 14%, Aptos down almost 10%, SUI getting offering investors a little bit of a discount here, down 5.3%. You've been saying you wanted to buy SUI. Now that it's down, will you? H&T down 7%. Nero down 4%. Of course, a meme coin there. But on down the line, all of it showing that the market is uncertain about which way it wants to go next, especially as a result of the inflation numbers that came out today. In addition, initial jobless claims came in a bit hotter as well. This means that the labor market is coming in unfavorably. How does all of this translate into what the Fed will do next, of course, because that's what everyone cares about? Well, let's go back to Polymarket. Let's go back to the arbiter of truth, or at least the closest thing we have to truth in today's media landscape. 25 basis points has actually continued to surge higher. What shed percentage? It was 50 basis points. So now it's actually more than twice, increasingly more than twice as likely that there will be a pause rather than a 50 basis point increase. Of course, neither of those are anywhere near as likely as what I think will happen is a 25 basis point increase. Why? It's going back to the economic data prints today. It's because the labor market is suffering. And ultimately, while we got a slightly hotter print, a 0.1% hotter print today on the inflation side, it really is much higher of a priority, as the FOMC has stated, to try to use their tools to heal, to cure the labor side of their dual mandate, which is suffering more. So what does that end up all boiling down to? 25 basis point cuts. But it's a cut, and the market is going to like that. They want to see more money, cheaper money flowing into markets and ultimately flowing into risk assets such as crypto, such as Microsoft and equities. Let's wrap out. Let's look at the SPX. This is again another summary of the U.S. stock market. SPX actually shedding here, a red candle for the day. The Qs are green on the 1 day. So the NASDAQ having a better day. We'll probably look at the mega cap tech stocks here in a second to square that and see which one of those is up, because it's more than likely one of those is surging. I think it was Amazon if I saw it earlier. Dow Jones, right? The older index here, seen as the more conservative, more utilities and energy heavy, is down. Okay, so let's look at those mega cap tech stocks here and see what we can't conclude. I will point out as we go by it, gold is having a bit of a recovery here on the daily, seeing a nice pop back up. And for those expert traders out there, I'm going to show you all something I've been watching, which is the gold over Dixie. If you see here, there's a very predictable upward trading channel that's been ascending trading channel that's been forming, and look what it's doing right now. If you know, you know. But let's go look at big tech, see which company it was that was up so much today, and it was NVIDIA. So NVIDIA up 1.5% there, but the rest of the NASDAQ looks to be shedding here. Oracle down 2%. Microsoft down 0.5. So overall, the market mostly taking this in stride, and NVIDIA yet again taking the team on its shoulders and pushing forward. There may have been some other names there that I didn't have listed that were also doing similarly as well. So Uniswap, NVIDIA were the names to be in today. If you're an investor, of course, you want to buy when there's fear in the markets. You want to buy on slightly red days like today. Although I will say that markets have been pumping, and today is kind of just a temporary correction, not a prolonged correction where there's significant discounts. So overall today, bros, I'm feeling pretty optimistic, and I'm going to feel even more optimistic after these next two stories. South Korea SEC forms a committee to discuss the approval of Bitcoin and crypto ETFs. Very bullish here. If South Korea, a pretty prosperous country there, not anywhere near the size of the United States financial markets, but a pretty sizable economy. An unlock into Bitcoin ETFs could definitely be bullish for the king of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. And then finally, 9.57 trillion Charles Schwab survey shows almost half of its respondents plan to invest in Bitcoin and crypto ETFs. So asset class ETF investors plan to invest in via ETFs. The top one, obviously, U.S. equities, but the second one, coming in before bonds and real estate and international equities and alternatives, is cryptocurrencies. Many would classify crypto as an alternatives, but not Charles Schwab. Cryptocurrencies coming in at number 2 here, showing what investors are looking at to purchase through investment vehicles like ETFs. Bros, if you're not bullish, if you're not buying on red days like today, then I don't know what you're doing, right? Not financial advice. I don't want to overpump you to think that you need to go out and invest more than you can afford to lose. In fact, I strongly encourage you to understand how risk management truly works, and that you can get wrecked even if you're buying products and cryptocurrencies that are going to do really, really well over the next couple months. How can that happen? Well, just because they're going to do really, really well over the next couple of months doesn't mean there aren't going to be periods of prolonged price decreases, right? Where if you put in $100 and there's a double-digit correction, you are going to be at a loss for potentially a couple of weeks, right? And if you need to pay your rent and you were anticipating being a millionaire in the next couple of weeks, then you're going to have to sell those assets for a loss. That's how people get wrecked in crypto. Even though I'm bullish on crypto, I'm very high convicted in specific cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Solana, and many others. But there are ways that you can lose, and that is just one of them. So be very, very careful. If you're new to crypto, you're new to investing, just make sure you understand the risks. Am I bullish? Heck, yes, I'm bullish on Bitcoin and crypto in general, but I do have to be honest with myself that there are risks, and you can do this wrong. It's not as easy as just pushing one button and then becoming wealthy and getting rich overnight. That does not happen. That does not happen. It just doesn't, right? Of course, very, very few people it does happen, but it's luck. It's complete luck. It's like scratching a lottery ticket and winning, right? That is not a sustainable and predictable method of growing your wealth, right? That is a bad way of thinking that you're just going to get easy, rich, quick. That is not going to happen. You have to be diligent. You have to tune into communities like this one, the Investing Bros. You have to be doing research. You have to understand what you're investing in. And most importantly, you have to risk manage properly. Do not invest more than you can afford to lose. Do not invest more than what you've budgeted to pay your bills for this week. I'm giving you all very, very practical advice here at the tail end of the episode, just because I know that a lot of folks are going to be tuning in after this big headline from today. And I don't want folks to be overly bullish, buying at a pretty good time while markets are on discount, but then just to turn around and hand it back to whales because they sold for a loss because they needed that money to make a car payment or put food on the table or buy disaster relief resources from the hurricane that has wreaked havoc here in the southeast United States, especially Florida. So bros, It has been a chore. It has been a pleasure, never a chore, to bring you all the market update here for October 10th. This is the market news and analysis. We do it every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Investing Bros YouTube channel. So make sure that you smash the like button and consider subscribing. I am going to go ahead and sign off early because I myself have taken some pretty extreme steps in my life to try to get out of the danger zone, as it were, for these hurricanes that have hit Florida, and I've got to make some decisions. Am I going back to a home that doesn't have power yet, doesn't have internet yet, and then risk not being able to go live tomorrow? Do I stay here at an alternative residence and try to figure out what to do? That's what I've got to sort out. So unfortunately got to sign off early. But Tim and I should be going live tomorrow. Tim will be in California, so it'll be cool. We'll be hearing about what's going on there with Tim, and we'll be absolutely taking a look at these prices. If you're thinking to yourself, T-Shroom, wait, I want to hear more. I want to know more. I want to learn. You don't have to starve yourself of knowledge. Check out the links in the description. We have a completely free Discord. Is that first link to Discord in the description of this video. And we also have BroLux memberships where you can learn from Tim and I how to trade, how to invest properly, how to risk manage properly, how to not lose it all, but instead make quite a bit of generational wealth by taking advantage of an industry that is very, very early, known as cryptocurrency. We talk about other stocks too as well in the Discord. You have a lot to gain and very, very little to lose by checking out the free Discord. And if you're ready to pull that trigger and start to learn and start to explore your investment and trading journey, check out those BroLux memberships and see what is going to be the best fit for you. I've been T-Shroom. I've had a ton of fun, and I hope you have too. Make sure that you check out the Discord and tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you here at the same time, and just bring that smile, bring those chats, and we'll hopefully have a little bit more question-answer time. We'll be giving a free giveaway away, and we'll do it all huge. Hopefully we'll have some really bullish news. I mean, Trump winning Michigan is very bullish there. Again, not in a partisan way, but from an investment standpoint, that could be very bullish for Bitcoin. If you're wondering why, go ask in the Discord. We'll explain it to you. Trump generally, trending higher, also very, very bullish. So we're going to talk about all that and more in the Discord. We will not be doing any of the trading lessons today, just due to Tim is flying across the country and I'm trying to dodge these hurricanes. Crux may go live for those, but that's up to him. It's a little last minute for us to all switch our plans around. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. We'll catch you back here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay bullish and use your stop losses. And for your own sake, for your body's sake, definitely stay hydrated. We'll see you next time.